Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to CV Pod right here on ChannelVisionMag.com, the podcast for ChannelVision Magazine. I'm Brady Hicks, and today we actually have a very special guest joining us. He is a representative from Quest Technology. He is the Vice President of Sales and Partnerships. We have with us Adam Burke. What's going on, Adam? How you doing today?
Good, Brady. Happy to be here. Thanks very much for having me.
So I'm very excited to learn all about Quest and everything that it has going on, including the channel program. Will we be able to start out, maybe, Adam, talk a little bit about Quest for those who aren't as familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. So Quest is an organization, as a technology firm that helps companies, organizations across the globe with their technology needs. We have a simple go-to-market strategy: is that we're an IT company, and how can we help? Been in business coming up on 40 plus years, and we help organizations tackle their technology challenges, whether that's selecting the appropriate technology for purchase and acquisition and rollout, assessing their migration strategies to the cloud, integrating applications, as well as the physical nature of IT, from structured cabling, wiring, and helping organizations put the physical assets that touch the digital world. So we like to think of ourselves as a system integrator and complex solution provider for the middle market. And it pulls us into all sorts of fun areas where organizations are trying to leverage technology to improve their business.
All right, very cool. And there's a lot there for sure. I know in the past and probably in the present as well, you've been responsible for a lot of the management and growth for Quest's channel and partner sales and that sort of stuff. How have you seen the channel evolve from your own perspective over time?
Yeah, so we first got involved in channel sales. We've always been a channel partner ourselves, helping as a reseller, and long-term partnerships with Cisco and Microsoft and things like that as a traditional value-added reseller and VAR. But we got into the channel leveraging the indirect sales force for our services in 2010, after we had built out a managed service practice, data center operations, and had a pretty substantial professional services organization. We found that a lot of partners, specialized in a few things, but were looking to add incremental revenue to their businesses by maybe leveraging some building blocks that Quest had. So it's definitely caught on very rapidly in the last few years. We've seen an explosion of our indirect sales revenue, leveraging our services. But honestly, 2009, 2010, not a lot of people understood what a managed service provider, system integration, application development, they didn't quite know how to pull those levers. So it took a little bit of time, some education, exposure, showing up, doing what you say you're going to do, to really help grow the channel. But we've seen, the trusted advisor, consultant, regional value-added reseller, national partners really latch on to the idea of they can use partners to achieve larger goals for their clients. It's a normal thing. It's been normal for us for 20 plus years. We've been using partners and using people to put together complex solutions. That's a normal motion for us. And we're finding that within the channel, it's also becoming commonplace to work with people and trust, and can help you deliver.
Okay, and I think it's definitely been a learning experience for a lot of different people over the years. What sort of opportunities are partners maybe missing out on?
Well, as we transition, a lot of people are talking about, transitioning to the cloud, and a lot of people use words like, business outcome, and solution selling and things like that. I think partners need to be cautious around doing the same thing that's always been done with a little bit different lipstick on the pig. And I guess the way I could describe that is, if you've been transactional in your sales motion, and rather than selling a box or selling a license for software or hardware to a client, and then drop shipping that and having that be the end of your engagement, just because that box or that license is now a subscription doesn't change the fact that someone needs to help make that acquisition function for the business. Just because someone has turned a product SKU into a ongoing service or subscription doesn't mean that it's going to deliver that business outcome the customer is looking for. So cloud services is a great example. There are a lot of assumptions about what moving to the cloud means. Clients are still responsible for securing their environment. They're still responsible for access control. They're still responsible for their data that lives in a third-party environment. So a lot of assumptions can be like, well, I'm going to move to the cloud, or I'm going to subscribe to this software as a service platform and everything will be okay. It's like, 12 years ago, the same thought process was, I'm going to buy this firewall and everything's going to be okay. Or I'm going to upgrade to this new server or this new operating system and it's just going to work. That same thought process is polluting the software as a service and the cloud spend concepts. The nature of that game hasn't changed. Those are still transactional sales, and people need to be aware that just because you're paying for something on a reoccurring revenue model doesn't mean it's a business outcome. It doesn't mean it's going to solve your problem. It means it's a building block to help get you there. And it maybe is a new, unique way to consume that building block, but you still need ongoing support, management, in-house or third party to help achieve what you're ultimately trying to do.
Okay, you mentioned a lot of different things there that can definitely help. How is Quest kind of uniquely positioned to help?
Yeah, so we take a building block approach model, right? So I've probably talked about 20 different service verticals in the last 5 minutes here, right? And so sometimes we can get the pushback of like, well, how do you guys do that? How do you guys actually help us execute in all these different areas? We standardize building blocks that help us incrementally create service level agreements and management that helps puts the whole piece together. So for example, an organization might have some gaps in their patching, or they might have some gaps in their current in their current security system or their current infrastructure. Quest provides patch management as a service, as well as ongoing support for application security testing, right? So those aren't always the exact same thing, but we have different teams that we can kind of mold together in a service offering under account management and service management that says, hey, here's what you're struggling with, right? You need your patches to be rolled out consistently, and you're rolling out a new application or a new web interface. Do you need some help in your DevOps practice to secure that code and make sure that code is secure from a vulnerability standpoint? So it's that operational practice of, hey, it's great you're hosting this application in AWS or Azure or in your own private cloud, but what building block do you need to go in there to help make sure it's secure? And then we document a service level agreement and call out, okay, we're going to be responsible for helping you patch, and we're going to be responsible for auditing your code every month when you roll it out or you ship it. And we put together a service offering around that. That same approach can be done with every building block we have, from endpoint security to our cyber defense suite of offerings to our DR services, helping people confirm backups, helping actually execute the backup or the recovery services. But you have to take an incremental approach of what's the outcome we're looking for, and how do we build a service around that to meet the customer where they are right now. That's a critical thing, I think, that differentiates Quest, and a lot of partners are struggling to find people who can help them achieve that, because a lot of organizations in the service provider world, they have their book of business, they have their capabilities, they'll listen to a customer and they'll wait for their turn to make their pitch. That can be really challenging, because unless that customer need fits that pitch, sometimes you got to have a square block and a round hole situation. Whereas our strategy is incremental changes, incremental building blocks to meet the customer where they are. They might have already invested in a technology stack. They might have already gone down the path of rolling out their next gen security services, or their SIM, or their log analyzer, whatever it is. We help manage what they have in place, make recommendations on ways to improve it. And it's really important to meet the client where they are. And our incremental approach gives us the flexibility to do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It sounds just so comprehensive when you list everything and talk about the incremental approach, but it's definitely, there's a differentiator there for sure, Adam. Let me ask you, as we kind of transition into the rest of this year and even into 2023 and beyond, what sort of things can we look forward to with Quest technology?
Well, we're excited that, our vision for the future and for the growth of Quest is through the channel. Our channel program from a revenue standpoint is more than doubling this year from 2021 to 2022. And we're seeing more and more partners get comfortable with the complex solutions. So we're doubling down on our investment in the channel. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Quest from a participation standpoint in regional and national events. We're continuing to invest in our technology service broker and distributors from an education standpoint, with their agents and partners. And we've rolled out a new client and partner portal that has all of our assets from a marketing and content and delivery, and that's tied directly into our technology service provider and partners. So a lot of assets around, where do I start? How do I get into business continuity? How do I get into cybersecurity? How do I help my clients, with all these different service verticals? We're investing a lot in that education, and not only the education, but also the marketing and the tools that are helping clients, helping our partners, which are my clients, let their clients know that they are able to assist them in areas of cybersecurity, in business continuity, in these other service verticals that clients are struggling to get help. So that's really excited about our partner portal and about the investments we're making in the channel. That's our national strategy. That's our growth engine for the foreseeable future.
That's great. And again, Adam, there's just so much there. If people want more resources, where can they go online?
So definitely come check us out on www.questsys.com, QUESTSYS.com. Partners@questsys.com hits our entire channel team, and one of our representatives will follow up with you and jump into whatever you're trying to work on, whether it's help with a marketing campaign, just general information on where to engage. But questsys.com, and then the partner page drop down within that field. Great materials there for you.
So I also heard, Adam, that you have a little bit of a side project, a podcast of your own going on. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah. We're coming up on our 30th episode. My brother and I actually do it. My brother works for the company as well and runs marketing for us, helps with digital distribution of content. So we put together a podcast called The Incident Report, and it's a pretty casual conversation. We have guests on from time to time, but mainly just talking about recent stories in the channel, things that are happening. It can be everything from acquisition trends to how people are rolling out their channel programs, and what's working and what's not. Usually between 20 and 30 minutes. It's pretty lighthearted, but we're getting good feedback on it, and we're excited about it. It's a good way that we found to, similar to this forum, help communicate with our partners and let them know what's going on with Quest and what we're seeing in the market. So it's a lot of fun. Enjoy doing that.
That sounds fun. It really does. Where can people find that?
So it's on Spotify. It's on the Apple podcast. Also on questsys.com. You can directly link to it, as well as on our partner website, which is questsys.com/partners. So it's on there. It's called The Incident Report. And it's part of our digital marketing and reach out to help communicate what we're up to at Quest.
That's fantastic. Adam Burke, the VP of Sales and Partnerships with Quest Technology. Thank you so much for the time today, Adam.
Thank you, Brady. It's been a lot of fun. Always a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure. And while you guys are online checking out questsys.com and all the great stuff that's there, don't forget to also visit channelvisionmag.com. Check out all the podcast and CVTVs and webinars and just great content available right there on demand on the website, channelvisionmag.com. And on behalf of Channel Vision Magazine and of course Quest Technology, this has been CV Pod. Take care, everybody.